so that for the guests as well. So before we start the session, can we just do an audio check for Sujit sir?
Hi, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you are.
Thank you so much, sir. You're clearly visible and you're audible. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll now be going live and starting the session. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the 23rd parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament. Around 2 years back, this initiative was started with a very simple idea of bringing together the most amazing teenagers from all across the world onto a single forum where they can talk to, interact with world leaders, and try to understand from them that how democracy works and how does policy making really work. And where does the role of a teenager become critical or important in this whole process of governing countries and nations? Today, when we start this 23rd parliamentary session, we are very happy to announce and share that we are now at the conclusion of the second parliament that got elected at the World Teen Parliament. The third World Teen Parliament will get elected and constituted on 22nd of January in the next year. The registrations for that are open, and a lot of you have been sending us videos for the next World Teen Parliament. I hope you make it to the Teen Parliament. Currently, every year we elect 100 teen MPs from across the world through a process of rigorous voting, and then these 100 MPs go through a rigorous process of one whole year where they work on different issues and try to execute some impact that they could, positive impact that they could create for the world. So today as well, like every month, we give them an opportunity to question, interact, understand, and learn from policymakers themselves that what do these teenagers really stand for? What do policymakers think of teenagers? And is there some sort of a relationship that really works out? So we have an amazing guest today. The format for the session is pretty simple. We will have an opening address by the guest, and then it's a complete question hour where all the teenagers can ask them questions, interact with them, and even learn from the skills and the experiences that they've gathered through their life. Thank you so much, everyone, once again for joining us. Everyone who has joined us on YouTube, if you have any questions, submit them in the comment section, and we'll try to take those questions in the question hour. So let me invite our guest for today to initiate this 23rd parliamentary session. A very warm welcome to Sri Sujit Kumar, the Member of Parliament, MP from Rajya Sabha from the Parliament of India. Sir, over to you for your opening address at the 23rd parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's hello everyone again. It's really a pleasure for me to interact with all the teen MPs from, I believe, from across the world.
Yes, sir.
The fact that you have been elected as teen MPs speaks volumes about your commitment, about your desire to bring in social change, about your willingness to be the change agents that we desperately need. All of you are in the prime of your youth, and youth hold tremendous responsibility and power in changing the world. You are a force. You are a force. You are a force which cannot be underestimated. Your energy, your passion, the ideas that you bring in, the fresh perspectives, these are extremely critical narratives in tackling the social, economical, political, cultural challenges that the world faces today. I will try to keep my initial remarks very brief. I would rather like to interact with you and leave a lot of time for that. But there are 4 or 5 themes which I think should resonate, and I think it's necessary for me to bring those themes at the outset, and then we can of course elaborate on those themes and any other area or theme that you'd like me to talk about later on during the interaction. So the first theme that I would like to talk about is sustainable development, or some people call it climate action, some people call it by other names. But broadly, the theme is how do we ensure that as youth we play a significant role in not only understanding the issue. I'm sure all of you are well versed with the issue of climate change, global warming, and the need to reduce our emissions so that we achieve net zero target. So all of you are pretty much cognizant of these issues, this issue particularly. But I think we need much more than superficial knowledge of this issue. I think it is extremely essential that as young leaders, as young global leaders, you need to proactively start engaging yourself in a constructive dialogue, in proposing innovative solutions, and in also collaborating amongst yourselves and the outer world to find innovative solutions for this issue. You probably would have heard or read that the Earth is already 1.1 degree centigrade warmer than it was about 200 years ago. It might 1.1 degree centigrade might not sound that concerning, but trust me, it's extremely concerning. And unless we limit our the global rise of temperature to 1.5 degrees centigrade, then I think we are really asking for trouble. And for that to happen, we need to bring down our consumption of energy from non-green sources to 50% by 2030, and to have net zero. Net zero meaning becoming emissions free. So net by 2050. Okay, India. Those teen MPs from India might know that our Prime Minister has articulated his goal of reaching net zero by 2070. But I think we really have to focus on this area. This is why I thought of putting on the table this issue of sustainability and climate change at the very outset of my address. Second is reducing the socio-economic inequalities, particularly after COVID. There has been massive increase in socio-economic inequality across the globe. Today, 10% of the richest people on earth have close to 60% of the wealth. 60%. So 10% people have more than 60% of the world's resources and wealth. And the bottom 10% people have less than 10%, close to 8, 9, depending on the country. But the world average is about 8. So that's the disparity that we're talking about. And unless we do something about it, the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, talk about leaving no one behind. Goal 1, Goal 5, Goal 8, Goal 10. These are the goals that talk of reducing the disparity between the haves and the have-nots. In fact, they talk of this slogan, leave no one behind. But how is it going to happen? Who is going to play the role of catalyst to reduce this disparity? So addressing social inequality, in my view, would be another key area of work for the teen MPs. Now and going forward, because the world is becoming more and more unequal, and unless you start start working on this, we are definitely going to live in a challenging world. Third is the third theme that I would like to talk about is embracing diversity. I think we are increasingly living in a world which is less tolerant about diverse opinions, diverse views, diverse cultures, beliefs, ideas, and I cannot think of a better platform, better mosaic of vibrant, diverse culture ideas as the teen parliament. So I think you need to harness your collective strength. It's a very powerful strength that you have. You need to harness this strength. You need to celebrate your diversity, the richness of the diverse MPs that we have here, and foster an environment where different cultures, different ideas are not only accepted but celebrated. And I think no one better than you all to do this. And then the last idea or theme that I would like to leave you with is the power of technology. Today, I'll give you an example from India. Today, we have 4 billion. I'm sorry, 10 billion. I'm so sorry. 10 billion transactions in a month, you have to call UPI transaction. UPI is a payment interface. It's called Unified Payment Interface. Those from India might have used your, used UPI to make payments. So today, you have 10 billion transactions a month, UPI payments. These are cashless payments. So just imagine the volume of data that is getting generated, the volume of transparency that is being brought in. But this is one extreme. The other extreme is today 60% of school children in India do not have access to online learning. And online learning was the only medium of learning for the entire country during times. 60% of school children in India do not have access to online learning. So that's the other extreme. So think about it. Think about it. If this 60% children, and mind you, 50% of India's population is under 25. So we are talking of 700 million Indians who are under 25. I do not have the data or the numbers for the number of children who are in school in India, but it's a substantial number. It's a sizable number. It's humongous. So and we cannot leave them behind if they do not have. And these are children in the tribal pockets of India. These are children in rural areas where internet connectivity isn't that great. These are children who do not have laptops or computer at home to be able to access online learning. So technology can be a great and similarly it can be a great divider as well. Think about it. If you are a teen MP and you are confronted with this challenge, then what are you going to do about it? How are you going to leverage technology, bring these 60% children who are school-going children who do not have access to online learning? And globally, I'm sure in Sub-Saharan Africa, in Southeast Asia, in Latin America, if you add these numbers, these are big numbers. Okay, and cybercrime increased by the day. The estimated cost of cybercrime is say a couple of $1 trillion. So what are the ethical considerations? So these are issues you need to grapple with, and you will be asked to grapple with. You will be asked to ponder about these issues going forward. When you take up leadership positions in your real world, then you will be grappling with these issues. So how do you ensure an equitable landscape for the digital haves and the digital have-nots? How do you handle the pitfalls of technology? How do you leverage technology to bring in a just world, to reduce carbon footprints, to bring in more diversity, to celebrate diversity? So these are the issues that I would like to ponder about and have meaningful conversation amongst yourselves and with the wider world. Finally, I think you are blessed to be in Parliament. You have this opportunity to interact amongst yourselves. The power of, just imagine the power of collective minds that's there. The 100 is it 100 MPs, right? Yeah, the 100 MPs that you all represent. It's such a powerful platform. So you need to think big. So I'll just leave you with two messages. One is the audacity of the vision. Don't think small, think something big. The world is really expecting something big from you. Big idea, big action. So have the audacity of thinking big, have the audacity of big vision. And secondly, have the how do I put it, the tenacity and the willingness and the persistence to execute or accomplish that vision. Okay, so these are the two ideas. Don't think small, don't dream big, have huge humongous vision, have that audacity, and then have the spirit and the attitude to execute that vision. Okay, so I'm really hopeful that with you all, we will definitely have a better, brighter world. And I'm looking forward to interact with you.
Thank you so much, Sujit sir, for that amazing start to this 23rd parliamentary session. I think some very important points that you mentioned, and the four focal areas that we'll be talking about today during this conversation: climate change and sustainability, socio-economic inequality, embracing diversity and inclusivity, and the power of technology. I think all of this, if you really bring together, these are the reasons why the World Teen Parliament could actually come into existence. Because there was technology, because people were ready to embrace diversity, and we all understood that there were issues of economic equality and climate change. There were some common threads that actually brought these teenagers and these schools from across the world together onto a platform. Otherwise, this platform would not have been possible. So, thank you so much, sir, for this amazing start. Let me invite the MPs now, one after the other, so that they can ask their question to you and you can respond to them. So now it's an open floor. It's an informal conversation. You can, answer any question whichever way. If you want to take up any question again, if you want to cross question, it's all up to you. So the first question comes from Mohammed Abdul Mukeet. Mukeet, over to you. Please introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Respected sir, I am MP Muhammad Abdul Muheed of the Second World Teen Parliament from Hyderabad MS Junior College, class 11 student from Hyderabad, Telangana, India. My question to you, sir, was, as you were the project lead of the Global Shapers community of the World Economic Forum, I wanted to know that in what ways is the World Teen Parliament's concept similar or different to the concept of the Global Shapers community, and how such initiatives can help us teens in the future?
Your first name is Abdul or the first name is Mohammed? What is your first name?
Mohammed.
Mohammed, actually, I was not the project head of the Global Shapers. I was the project head of the Young Global Leaders program at the World Economic Forum. I used to work for the World Economic Forum in Geneva, and I used to head. So they had an initiative called the Young Global Leaders, YGL in short, and we used to select about 150, 180 odd YGLs every year from across the world, including like a dozen from India, dozen or so odd from India. And these were individuals under 40 and extremely accomplished in different walks of life, be it politics or business world or the creative world or sports or social sector, media. I mean, we had the founders of Google. We had from India, if I say, we had Rahul Gandhi as a YGL. We had Vishwanath Anand. We had Ekta Kapoor. We had Sanjeev Bajaj. So all the business beings from business world, from media, from politics. So the idea was to bring all these young, accomplished, highly accomplished leaders, and to get them to work together to bring in positive social change. So we used to get these leaders to work on some social challenge or social issue. So for instance, has anyone heard of an initiative called deworming initiative? Deworm the world. Have you heard of it? Deworm, DEWRM.
Tablets given.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yes. So this initiative was started by the YGLs when I was the project head in 2007, and today is one of the most successful interventions in reducing flu amongst school-going children under 8 or under 10. By giving them simple tablets, iodine tablets and other tablets, a couple of times a year. The school dropout rate and the absent school has been reduced by almost 67, close to 67-70%, and these are hard facts. So this is one initiative. Then the other initiative we had started was getting the private sector to invest in primary education, because private sector was very much willing to invest in tertiary education. They would fund in the Indian context, they would fund the IITs and the IIMs. In the global context, they would fund the Harvards and Stanfords of the world. But when you ask them, why don't you build 20 primary schools? Why don't you build playground for 20 primary schools? They would be a bit reluctant, because that didn't help them in the branding or it didn't bring in visibility to the corporate world. It was not glamorous. So we got them. To focus on primary education. So we got Lafarge, one of the largest companies in the world, to donate cement bags. We got L&T to execute and build classrooms. We got Microsofts of the world to donate computers and all those things, and then we formed a consortium of all these top companies of the world to focus on primary education in Africa, India, Cambodia, and a few other countries.
Thank you, sir.
The next question comes from MP Paulina Thomas. Paulina, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Paulina Thomas. I'm in the 10th grade at school and I'm MP. My question is for Sri Sayed Kumar, and the question is, what are the conditions to prioritize
I think
or national issue in the parliament?
I didn't get you. Why don't you type your question?
I'll try to repeat the question. She asked the question that what are the conditions to prioritize a local or a national issue in a parliament? That how do you decide that should we be focusing the energy on a local issue or should we be focusing it on a national issue?
There is no perfect answer to this. It depends on the context, or it depends on the priority of the political party that the MP represents. It depends on which state she or he comes from. It depends on the bills that are to be taken up in a particular session of parliament, and of course, local issues are always important because your constituents, they expect you to raise issues of the constituency and try to get them redressed. And oftentimes the MP has to play to the gallery. You want to please your constituents. You want to show to the constituency that, hey, I'm going to Delhi, and I have raised these issues of our district or of our constituency. There's no perfect way to prioritize it. It depends on the context, I think, and sometimes national or international issues take precedence. Let's say there is a border conflict, or there's the G20 summit which happened in India recently, and if the parliament is in session, then sometimes those issues take up precedence. Okay.
The next question.
Okay, thank you.
Where are you joining from, Paulina? Where are you joining from?
I think Paulina is facing some internet issue.
Okay, I think we should move ahead.
Yeah.
So Paulina is actually from Episcopal, Spain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead.
The next question comes from Tanushri Meher. Tanushri, over to you. Please introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Thank you, sir. A very warm greeting to one and all present here. My name is Tanushri, an MP of the World Teen Parliament, studying in grade 8 at Ryan International School, Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. And my question is, as the world is becoming increasingly interconnected and dependent on digital technologies, there's a growing need to protect and promote human rights in the online sphere. However, many challenges and dilemmas arise from the rapid development and deployment of emerging technologies, such as artificial intelligence, biometrics, facial recognition, and blockchain. These technologies can benefit for human development and social good, but they also pose serious risks for human dignity, privacy, security, and democracy. So therefore, it's important to establish a legal and ethical framework that can balance the opportunities and threats of these technologies and ensure that they are used in responsible and accountable manner. In this regards, sir, what legislative measures do you believe are necessary to safeguard individuals from privacy infringements, surveillance abuses, and other digital threats?
Are you aware that the Indian Parliament has recently passed a bill called the Personal Data Protection Bill? Tanusri, I'm asking you if you know that the Indian Parliament has recently passed a bill. It's called the Personal Data Protection Bill.
Not an idea, sir.
Right.
The
So-
National Strategy for Artificial Intelligence, however, was released in 2018.
So that gives you the answer. Well, yes, these are all emerging technologies: artificial intelligence, blockchain, IoT, and so these are all new emerging technologies. And of course, all the countries in the world are trying to cope up with this new development. In India, we had an IT Act which was passed in the year 2000, in Information Technology Act of 2000. Now, 23 years is a long time. It's actually probably a millennia in the field of technology. 23 years is a long time. Just imagine the technology that we had in the year 2000 and the technology that we have today. So now the IT Act is being completely overhauled. It's being I think it's being repealed, and a new act called the Digital India Act is to be introduced in Parliament. I hope it's introduced in the winter session of Parliament next month. But it will come for sure very soon. So that will encompass all this new technologies that you spoke of, AI, blockchain, and so on and so forth. And but I think there is need for a global cooperation, and world leaders have been talking about it. You need a global framework, probably under the umbrella of UN or the International Telecom Union or some other body. You need a global framework that can provide a way of regulating these new age technologies. But there are national legislations, and in India we already have the Personal Data Protection Bill in place, and I think very soon we'll have the Digital Act of 2023 or 2024.
Thank you, sir.
The next question comes from Amber. Amber, over to you. Please introduce yourself and then ask the question.
Evening, sir, and for other MPs and influencers as well. My name is Amber Kim, Kim So-han from South Korea, and I'm currently studying in Malaysia Sefo International School right now. My question is, will the technological revolution, for example, such as AI, boost welfare or increase inequality? Like, what will happen?
Can you repeat, Amber? Will technology
yes.
more inequality?
Will the technological revolution,
Yeah.
such as AI, for example, boost welfare or increase inequality?
Yes, definitely. I think I already touched upon it during my opening remark. The digital have and digital have not is widening. The gap between the digital haves and the have nots is widening. I think there's need massive digital literacy in poorer countries, less developed countries. I can give you the example of my country, India, and my constituency is fairly rural, and I see this. So one of my big focus area in my constituency is to bridge this digital gap. Forget artificial intelligence and all the critical emerging technologies. Even basic access to computer, basic access to mobile phones. Those are also issues which need to be addressed. Yes, so I think we are at an inflection point where we can leverage technology to bring in more inclusion. I mentioned about the fact that 10 billion transactions are happening per month using UPI. UPI is a technology basically. It's a interface, digital payment interface, and most of the users of this are small and medium enterprises, people who are selling like basic services, the vegetable vendor, or someone who is running a small shop. So this has been a huge empowering tool for them. But I did also talk about the gap. So yes, it's a double-edged sword.
I see. Thank you, sir, for the answer.
The next question comes from Kadambari Chaudhary. Kadambari, over to you. Please introduce yourself and ask the question.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kadambari and I'm from Chinmaya Vidyala, New Delhi. My question to you is, sir, that what specific projects you have undertaken at Kusum Foundation supporting education and technology in Odisha's community. Eager to learn about your contributions.
I think one I did mention, we are working with close to 10,000 women, even more than right, close to 13,000 women now, to bring in digital literacy, financial literacy, basic digital literacy, basic financial literacy, basic legal literacy to these women, and of course these are women who are in extremely difficult circumstances in the tribal pockets of Odisha largely. We work largely in Odisha, but we also have some initiatives in Chhattisgarh, but largely 90% of the work is in Odisha. So the idea is to empower these women with basic skills. So why financial literacy is important? There is a there has been multiple scams and scandals involving some fly by night operators who came promised very good returns and cheated people of their hard earned money, because people didn't know about saving, people didn't know how to open a bank account, people didn't know anything about financial transactions. So we thought it's extremely important that people are given some basic awareness about what a bank is, what a bank account is, how can they open a bank account, what is saving, and those kind of things, so this Ponzi scams don't happen again. And same with legal literacy. These are people who sometimes do not know about their rights and the benefits they have under the Indian Constitution. So we thought, why not give them some basic legal literacy, what an FIR is, how to deal with the police, what is domestic violence, if they face domestic violence, then how can they tackle this, who do they go to, so those kind of issues.
Thank you, sir. It's very inspiring for me.
Thank you, Kadambari. Where are you based?
Sir, could you please say it once? I didn't got it.
Where are you joining this?
I'm from India, from New Delhi.
The next question comes from Nusrat Fatima. Nusrat, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Greetings, sir. I'm Nusrat Fatima, studying at Hidayah Junior College from Hyderabad, Telangana, India. So my question is, people from Odisha migrate to other states after graduating for jobs instead of working for its own native place due to less job opportunities and scopes, which forces them to work in other states for living. So, being the representative of Odisha in Rajya Sabha, how will you improve this?
I think Sujit sir is facing an internet challenge. We might have to wait for a couple of moments for him to rejoin the call. People who might be joining us on YouTube, if you have any questions or anything, you can put it in the comments and we'll try to take them up during the question hour time. We're still live on YouTube, and the main guest today has, I think, faced some internet challenge and has exited the call. So we will be typically waiting for him to rejoin the call so that we can resume the meeting. Till then, we'll have to take a small little pause. His team is trying to, take care of this, and he's trying to rejoin the call. Just give us a couple of moments so that we can resume the question hour at this parliamentary session.
Hello.
Welcome back. Yes, sir, you're now audible.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. I don't know why, but
No issue, sir. Welcome back. The question, Nusrat Fatima, again, please ask the question again.
Okay, sir. Greetings, sir. I'm Nusrat Fatima, studying in Hidayah Junior College from Hyderabad, Telangana, India. So my question is, people from Odisha migrate to other states after graduating for jobs instead of working for its own native place due to less job opportunities and scopes, which forces them to work in other states for living. So, being the representative of Odisha in Rajya Sabha, how will you improve this?
very good question, Fatima. Nusrat, what's your first name? Nusrat or Fatima?
Nusrat.
Nusrat. Very good question. Very good question, Nusrat. See, yes, it's a big challenge. Migration. Odisha is one of the source state of migration. Telangana, Mumbai, Hyderabad in Telangana, Mumbai, Bangalore also, Surat. These are the destination cities where most of the migrants from Odisha go to work in the textile mills, to work in the brick kilns in and around Hyderabad. So that's because there are not enough economic opportunities in Odisha. That's true. So this is Odisha. Odisha has been largely a mining state for a long time. Odisha's economy has been predominantly mining. We have the largest coal, bauxite, iron ore reserves in India, and Odisha's economy is 50% mining. Odisha is even close to 50% of Odisha's GDP comes from the mining sector. And the mining sector can only employ so many unskilled laborers, and you need semi-skilled laborers. And there has not been a service industry, or there has not been a massive non-mining manufacturing industry in Odisha, which is changing, of course. Of course, now Odisha is the way Odisha is growing and transforming itself. I think the migration challenge that you spoke about, Nusrat, is going to come down because most migrants wouldn't want to migrate if they find better economic opportunities closer to home, isn't it? So, but then you have many skilled migrants also. Like, for instance, a lot of ODA engineers go to Bangalore, to NCR, to Pune, to Hyderabad. So there are close to 5 lakh, I mean, for our non-Indian friends, that is 500,000 Indian IT professionals in Bangalore. So yes, the government is aware of this challenge. A lot of schemes are being implemented to check forced migration. There is a difference between voluntary migration and forced migration. So voluntary migration is like what I spoke about, Indian Odisha IT professionals going to Bangalore, NCR, Pune. But forced migration is because they don't have opportunities back home, and they are forced to migrate with their family to earn a living. So yeah, that shouldn't happen. And yes, I as a representative of the state, I am very much involved in this. In fact, the Kalinga Kusum Foundation, of which I'm the founder, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day activities anymore. I'm on the board now, and the foundation also works with migrant workers in bringing skills to them. We have, in fact, the foundation has a partnership with Wadhwani Foundation. Wadhwani Foundation is one of the largest foundations in the world in skilling, in providing training and capacity building to entrepreneurs. So lot of effort is needed. Work is going on.
Thank you, sir. Can I ask one more question?
You ask the moderator. He is the boss. So
The teenagers are the boss. They can. Yes. No, sir. Please go ahead.
Go ahead, Nusrat. Go ahead.
Okay. So even though the coastal line of Odisha is 485 kilometers, why do farmers in Odisha have limited access to irrigation, and only 14% of the state has irrigation? So, and even some districts are considered as drought prone. So, why is this? Like, they even have a long coastal line.
Where did you get this data from?
From Google?
Is it recent?
Yes, actually.
Okay, I think it may be a bit incorrect. I think yes, Odisha. There are many districts in Odisha which were very drought prone, including my own district of Kalahandi, which was known for starvation, for drought, for a very long time. But today, you have this network of canals crisscrossing the district to the extent that today 47% of Kalahandi district has irrigation, around the year irrigation. And I don't have the data for the entire state, but 14% is certainly too low a number for comfort, because in the last 10 years or so, government of Odisha has focused massively on irrigation, on agriculture and irrigation. Today, Odisha is the largest contributor to the country's public distribution system, what we call PDS. Coast has nothing to do with irrigation, because you cannot do irrigation with saline water, right? So coast has its own economy, separate marine economy. So yes, it's true that the coastal districts of Odisha also are the districts which have the Mahanadi and the tributaries of Mahanadi. So it's similar to the Indo-Gangetic plains. The soil is fertile, but again, those are the most populous parts of Odisha. So I'm not sure what the exact percentage is, but it should be higher than 14%. And today I don't think there is a drought-like situation anywhere in the state.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The next question comes from Radhika Agrawal. Radhika, over to you. Introduce yourself and ask your question. Radhika, I think you have an audio disconnection. We are only able to hear a buzz. So I'll ask the question that you've shared. So Radhika has, I hope I'm audible, Sujit sir?
Yeah, you are audible. Sorry.
Okay. So the question that they asked, Radhika has asked is, India is indeed a country with kaleidoscope of cultures. So there must be different issues of different states in the upper house when you discuss in the Rajya Sabha. So how do you tackle with issues putting up scenarios that may be good for one state and maybe of less importance, or maybe downgrading for the other state? When there is an interstate conflict or a scenario where one state gets the benefit and the other state might be losing something, how do you find a middle way, or how do you collaborate or cooperate with each other?
That's the beauty of democracy. Yes, there are disputes. You have scenarios where MPs from Karnataka, they speak on the Kaveri issue, and the MPs from Telangana opposite. Or you have issues between Punjab and Haryana, or between Odisha and Andhra, with regards to with a couple of villages that both the states claim, or with regards to a dam project which is being built in Andhra and Odisha objects to it. There are issues between Odisha and Chhattisgarh with regards to the Mahanadi water. So yes, these are issues which are discussed, debated in the parliament. Every state, MP puts forth their views, but then I mean, I have spoken oftentimes on the need for having more funds to Odisha, and very much knowing that it's not possible. There is a formula according to which funds are devolved to the states. And the formula is pretty well defined. Yes, the government of India has some discussion, some flexibility in giving some funds more to some states vis-a-vis other states, but they can't deviate much from that formula. But still, we make noise in the parliament, saying government of India is neglecting us, and they are not giving us enough funds that we deserve, so sometimes it becomes political. Sometimes there are genuine issues which we feel are not being addressed by government, by the central government. So that's the beauty of the upper house. The MPs of upper house, Rajya Sabha, they represent the interest of the states. and that's what we are meant to do in the parliament. Now, the government, of course, has to balance conflicting demands, multiple demands, and see what is feasible and what is not.
So the next, Radhika, your audio has some issue. You'll have to sort it out. We're not able to hear you. The next question comes from Manya Maheshwari. Manya, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. I am Manya Maheshwari, a member of the World Teen Parliament from Grade 9th Billabong High International School, Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, India. My question to you, sir, is being a member of the Consultative Committee for the Ministry of External Affairs, what are your views on the ongoing war scenario across the world?
Do you mean the Israel-Hamas conflict and the Russia-Ukraine conflict, or do you have some other conflicts in mind? What do you?
Yes.
Speak, Manya?
Yes, sir.
See, my views are in sync with the position of Government of India. Government of India has a long-standing position that the solution to the Israel-Palestine issue has to be found within the ambits of international law, and a two-state solution is the only ideal solution acceptable to both the parties. A two-state solution, meaning a separate state of Palestine and the state of Israel. That has been the long-standing position of Government of India. And the current government also has reiterated that position. So as a member of the Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs, that's my view. Yes. Now, well, if you look at what happened on 7th of October, what Hamas did was clearly a terrorist activity. So that has to be condemned by I think all civilized nations and individuals. Now, is the response of Israel proportionate to that? Is the response of Israel in accordance with international law? I don't think so. I think in their eagerness to kill Hamas and to destroy Hamas and all, I think they are doing a lot of collateral damage to the civilian population of Gaza. Whether it's intentional or not, that is immaterial. The fact that there is a lot of collateral damage happening, including a lot of women and children getting killed, it could be true that Hamas is operating from hospital compounds or from schools, but I don't think you can to catch or kill 200 Hamas terrorists. You destroy a whole hospital, or you cut off oxygen supply to the hospital, you cut off food aid to the civilian population. I think this has to be condemned. I think UN also has passed a resolution on this, and my view is that yes, this whole theory of collateral damage should be denounced. Regarding Ukraine and Russia, India's position is very clear. Yes, again, we have to abide by international law. We need to respect the sovereignty of other countries, but and India has taken a very fine balance without actually condemning Russia. India has India has not condemned Russia yet, and that is because of the legacy issue. That is because of the historical factors. Because for a long time, so the Soviet Union, the former avatar of the current Russia, that was a great friend of India, and even today 60% of our defense supplies comes from Russia. So we are not definitely condoning the aggression on Ukraine, but India is trying to to point out the hypocrisy and duplicity of the Western countries in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Apologies for the audio error. So actually, there are many questions that have to be asked, but we are nearly at the conclusion of the session. So last question, Anya Pandey. Anya, please ask your question. In every parliamentary session, we try to give opportunity to some of the teenagers who are not the part of the World Teen Parliament, so that their perspective could also come in. So Anya, please ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anya Pandey, and I am an influencer at the World Teen Parliament. So, my question to you, Shri Sujit Kumar sir, is that being one of the youngest ever to chair a parliamentary committee, what advice would you like to give us in order to voice and implement the reforms in our judicial system, which is essential to bring a true change in all the issues addressed by you? And how far do you agree with the fact that without any support from the judiciary, it is next to impossible for one to bring a change in our flawed judicial system, which doesn't allow 50% of the citizens below 20 years to get access to education via an online platform, like you stated, sir?
Yeah, Anya, if I understand you correctly, I think you are talking about judicial reforms. I couldn't be happier.
Sir, I was talking about the reforms in our education system, in which you stated in your motion that we weren't getting access to online education.
Yes, please. I think the first and foremost task is to follow the recommendation of the Kothari Commission. Way back in the 1960s, the Kothari Commission way back in 1960 had recommended that we should spend 6% of our GDP on education. It has been 60 years since the Kothari Commission's recommendation. We are still close to 3%. I mean, maybe I think this year it is going to reach 4%. So we need to spend much more on primary education. Education is the best passport against all kinds of injustices, inequity, and poverty, hunger. So unfortunately, after independence in 1947, we focused a lot on our tertiary education. This is why we have the best IITs and IIMs, the world-class institutions, but at the expense of primary education. So we have a situation, or rather we had a situation where you had the best tertiary education in the world, or amongst the best, the IITs and all, and you had the worst and poorest literacy rate, and so education reform is badly needed. I'm very hopeful about the power of technology. So today you have, with 5G being rolled out, and we are talking about 6G now, it's a matter of time before the entire country gets connected with 5G technology. And today, with the simple device, a kid in Bastar has the same access to information and knowledge as a kid in New York, right? All that the kid in Bastar needs is, or a kid in Nagaland for that matter needs, is access to technology in her native language. So you have all these edtech companies who are coming out with great content. We need to get them to have this content in vernacular language, whether it's Odia, Bengali, Telugu, Tamil, Punjabi, and even dialects, and make them free of cost, accessible to kids in the remotest parts of India, so that they have the same content which a kid in Delhi has. And with the penetration of internet, with leveraging technology, this is going to happen in a couple of years, if not more. So I think I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful about the massive transformation that is undergoing in the education sector, in the primary, particularly in the primary.
If I just may ask you a follow-up, I would like to ask that the fact is what I was trying to ask you before also, that online education is something that is not accessible still. Like you told us that the opportunities are not equal for everyone, like throughout. And how can the government of India and how can the judicial system play a role in it to provide equality? Like we as activists can do as much as we can, but what support can we get from the government in doing so?
The government is well aware of this challenge. This is why I think there's massive focus on having the entire country connected with high-speed internet. There's massive focus on. See, the biggest challenge is not building school. We have the money today to build as many classrooms and schools as we need. The biggest challenge is getting quality teachers. You simply don't have enough number of quality teachers willing to go and teach in rural hinterland. That is the absenteeism, the teachers is massive. You have all these ghost teachers who are enrolled, who are on the pay book of schools, but they hardly go to the schools. Maybe once a month or twice a month they go. I'm not talking about all teachers, but this is a practice still in many schools in rural India. So how do you tackle this challenge? The best way is to get technology. Just eliminate the need for teachers. You might need a teacher maybe twice a month. Right? Get a teacher twice a month to clear the doubts and to to interact with the students. But otherwise, you get all the content in the local vernacular language and stream it live to the student. Make internet, make tablet, make computer and mobile phones available and accessible to them. You will solve the problem automatically. And talking of judicial intervention, we have something called the Right to Education Act. As activists, as teen activists, use that provision. It's a fundamental right. Education has been brought in the Part 3 of the Constitution. Article 21A of our Constitution talks of right to education, RTE. So our 21A is right to life. Okay, Article 21 is right to life. So 21A is, so Supreme Court has said, the Honorable Supreme Court has said that education is life. Without education, you cannot have a meaningful life. So every kid in this country deserves to have, under 14, deserves to have free and compulsory education. If you find some kids or some schools, and mind you, all private schools are bound to accept certain number of students free of cost, including the top most private schools of the country, whether it's Delhi public school or modern school or you name it. But how many of the schools have admitted slum kids? How many of the schools have admitted poor kids?
So, sir, can I actually lodge a case on a school which is not accepting a certain amount of students?
Of course, you can. They're bound to take. I think it's 30. Just recheck the percentage, but they're bound to take certain number of students who are unable to pay the exorbitant fees. And there have been many judgments of the court also.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I shall look into.
If the moderator is willing, I'm okay with taking one last question.
Okay, sir. Actually, there are many questions. There's one request from one of the MPs, I think. Radhika, you have some request. You can please put your request. We're nearly at the end of the session. Radhika, is your audio working?
Oh, yes, sir. So, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
All right. So, greetings, sir, Mr. Sujit Kumar. So, we are really inspired by all of your sayings that you have talked upon today. Here in the World Teen Parliament, like we are the parliament of the teens, and we work for the teens, and we really aspire forward to look upon the problems of the teens, and we try our best to tackle them. So we have a group in the World Teen Parliament called What Teens Want. In that group, we have created a kind of a short survey form, and we needed to share it with the youth so that we can just try to increase our survey responses, and we can gather that what is the opinion of the Gen Z population today, what do all of them think, and how can we as a member of teen parliament try to solve their problems by trying our utmost solutions. So, sir, I had a small request. If I can please share that survey link with you on your mail, or maybe you could give me some kind of ID so that I can connect with you, and you could share it further in such a way so that the teenagers could fill it. It would be a great help, sir.
Sure, so I can tweet about it and post it in my LinkedIn account. You guys can take my Twitter handle and I'll, once I tweet, you can then retweet it or share it or like it or whatever.
All right.
So Sujit K official, SUJ. Let me type it here.
So if you could just type in the chat, it would be great.
Yeah. That's my Twitter handle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if you just do a search on LinkedIn, you'll find me.
Okay, so thank you so much, sir. We are really highly obliged by this, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Welcome, Radhika.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sujit, sir. Every teenager at the World Teen Parliament tries to do some sort of an impact for teenagers within the 1 year. So there are different efforts that these teenagers take, and these groups are doing some amazing work. So we're nearly at the conclusion of the session. Before the session concludes, a closing remark or a closing suggestion or a tip that you would want to give to teenagers across the world, that how should they be looking at their own governments? How should they get involved in governance? And how should they look at citizenship as a teenager?
All I'll say is, I'll repeat the two messages that I articulated at the beginning of my address. One is have big audacious goals. How many of you have read a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho? Okay, I think everyone must have read. All of you might have, if not all, at least a substantial number of you would have read that. So in that book, there is a very famous line which has remained my favorite line since I read that book in 2004 or 3, maybe 2003. Great. So the scene is showing that book. Okay, great. So the line goes like this. If you really want something, the entire universe conspires in helping you achieve that, right? Something. It may not be exactly those words, but you get the gist. So so basically, what does that mean? You need to have big, powerful goals and vision, and then start working towards that goal. Each of you has some passion, some area that you would like to focus on, and as a collective, you can focus on a couple of things, and it's a very powerful collective that you have. So the same message, have audacious goals and vision, and have the tenacity and the attitude and the persistence to achieve that goal. The world needs you. The world wants you to be resilient, wants you to be catalyst for change, wants you to be active participant. Just don't be the witness of the unfolding narratives. You need to bring in transformative changes. Be the change agent that you expect to see in the world. So that would be my last message. And if at any point of time I can be of any assistance, then don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time and being here with us. As I think you appreciated, only one question in this complete question hour. So in every this parliamentary session, we try to give an award to the best question that comes from somebody, the question that the guest appreciates. So for this parliamentary session, the best question that will get a cash prize comes from Nusrat Fatima. So Nusrat, congratulations. You had the best question today. You'll get your cash prize soon. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much, Sujit sir, for taking out the time for this 23rd parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure in interacting with all the teen MPs and the teen influencers.
Thank you so much, sir.
Best of luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Namaste. And this is the conclusion of the 23rd parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament. Namaste.